Radio Cardiff.
98.7 FM. Hello, Graham.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to Radio Cardiff.
Pleasure to be on Radio Cardiff.
Have you been on Radio Cardiff ever before?
Probably.
Probably. Well, in your many years, I won't go into how many years you've been in the music scene, but you've been rocking the world from the early 60s, I think from before I was born.
Probably.
So, how does it feel to still be going? Did you ever envisage still being this predominant in 30, 40 years since you started?
Not really. I didn't really think about the future. I just kept on doing what I do, and I'm still doing it, and I'll carry on for doing it as long as I'm able to. So I love doing it.
What's the exciting thing about it? Why have you still got the same energy as back in the day?
I don't think there's any reason why you should lose that energy if you love what you're doing, which is the main thing. You know, I mean, my life it's split into different things that I do in my work. You know, writing and recording and playing live. And I suppose those three things I love so much, and I'm just very grateful to be able to keep doing them. I make a living out of it as well.
Well, that's the thing, these days, I interview a lot of artists, but to keep, to get a career in the music is one thing, but to have a sustaining career in the music industry is yet another thing. So what would you pass on to new artists that are coming out there, new bands that are coming out there? What would you say is the fundamental thing that is necessary for longevity in the music industry?
Well, like anything, you need a good foundation. And my foundation was playing in little bands and just going around the clubs and slogging it out a bit. Really, that's where we all sort of learnt our craft. And, sometimes having rejection can actually make you stronger, and you learn to live with it, and you try harder, and, just do your best all the time. That's the main thing.
Become thick-skinned.
Don't expect anything.
Exactly.
I know it's human nature to have expectations, but try and keep a level head, but always do good work and do your best. And with songwriting, make sure that you're really convinced that is the best that you can do before you play it to anybody.
Okay. And can you remember your first ever gig with 10cc?
Yes, of course I can. It was in 1972. It was on the Isle of Man in the casino there.
Wow, and how does that feel about looking back on that now,
Well, I remember it very fondly because we came out, remember it had not been a band that had been on the road at all, and of course Eric had been in the Mindbenders, so he had a lot of experience of being on the road. I'd been in various sort of not very successful bands, but had been doing that for quite a bit. Kevin and Law really hadn't done that much gigging at all. So we came out just thinking we were going to play a set, but we came out to the audience, which seemed to, I think it was predominantly girls, sort of screaming their heads off, and it came to us as a complete surprise that would happen.
But it must.
But we got used to it quite quickly.
I was going to say, that must be terrible having these things happening, in the music industry,
Yeah, it's dreadful.
So in all your career, who's the most memorable people that you've enjoyed playing up aside? I know because you're playing again alongside Status Quo. You come to Cardiff on the 8th.
That's right.
But who else apart from Status Quo? Who have you said? Yeah, I've reached it. I'm really glad that I worked alongside those guys.
Well, I guess one thing that was very memorable. It wasn't necessarily working alongside. Was when we had a studio in Stockport, our own studio called Strawberry Studios.
Mm-hmm.
While we were recording the sheet music album, which I think would have been sort of 73 or 74, I'm not sure. But anyway, Paul McCartney was actually recording an album with his brother in the evenings, and we were recording during the day, so there was a very nice sort of crossover in the late afternoon between us and Paul. And I remember the studio was completely crammed with Paul's gear and our gear as well, and it was a very, very exciting time. And I think that album, which is my favourite album, Sheet Music, sort of benefited from Paul's vibes, if you like, from being around.
I was going to say, you've just answered my question. I was going to say, which was your out of all the albums? Because how many albums have you done now?
Oh, God knows.
It's quite a few, isn't it? It's in the multiples. Anyway.
Yes, it's in the teens. Of proper. I mean, I'm not counting any sort of reissues or greatest hits or anything like that. But I mean, we did probably about 10 albums, and we did 4 with the original 4 of us, with myself, Eric, Kevin, and Lon.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Now, out of all of the musics, out of all the, which is your favourite song and why?
What that I've been associated with?
Yeah, within 10cc. You know, which?
Oh, with 10cc.
Yeah.
You know, that is a really difficult question because there's so much of 10cc material, and for anything to be recorded, you know, I think we all have to love it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Donna, in a way, because it was our first single and really proved something that we thought that we could actually make it as a recording band. I guess Rubber Bullets because it was our first number one. I'm Not in Love for obvious reasons. And Dreadlock Holiday, you know, was also number one for us. So those are sort of very special. But, you know, between Dreadlock Holiday, I'm Not in Love and Rubber Bullets, it sounds like 3 different bands if you listen to it.
It does, yeah. Well, I'm going to be playing sort of a Dreadlock Holiday in a minute. So.
Okay.
And you know, with Rubber Bullets, do you think the lyrics still stand poignant with the way things are in today's society?
Well, I know it's always, you know, people put onto a lyric something that's happening at the moment. But the fact is, the song was written or inspired by, you know, those old James Cagney movies, you know, like Angels with Dirty Faces.
Yep.
And that sort of genre of movie where the padre pleads with the convict who's going to go to the electric chair, you know, to scream and shout and show that he was a big wuss and not
he's remorseful. Yeah.
Everyone around him. So I guess that actual lesson will always be relevant. But I mean, a song like Wall Street Shuffle seems whenever there's some sort of financial crisis, that gets rolled out, and then you know, with the cricket, of course, Dreadlock Holiday has been fantastic, really, for us.
Well, it is. You know, I mean, you're there. You're benchmarks of musical history. So, have you toured with Status Quo before, or is this the first time with these guys?
We've never toured with them, but we've done lots of gigs with them over the years. And it's really interesting because you might think that we are, you know, strange bedfellows, so to speak, but in fact, their audience and our audience seem to coincide. And well, I suppose that's why they've asked us to tour with them this time, and because you know, we'll bring our audience, and that our audience will really love Status Quo and vice versa.
Well, that's it. They're quite universal. You know, for me, that's a great old billing because it's you are similar, but you are also different. But the one fundamental thing that I think is similar, you are both energy bands. Yeah,
and also we're from a similar era, so there's a compatibility there. But I mean, you know, we can rock out as well. I mean, although I would say we're probably a more cerebral sort of band. Nevertheless, you know,
you can still pull up to the plate.
Yes, we can still rock.
And I presume you're still influencing the younger generation. That must be good, you know, when you're still gathering new fans.
Yeah, I mean, I hear things all the time, and you can hear, you know, I can hear a 10cc influence or a 60s influence, something going on. Of course, that'll always be the way, I suppose. That's very sort of gratifying that people are trying to make. You know, there's a lot of simplistic music around. I'm not saying it's bad, but it is simplistic.
Yeah.
Not very demanding, but I do hear bands that are intelligent and, you know, thought-provoking lyrics and intelligent music.
It is. There's a lot going on. As I say, I was talking to an artist earlier on, you know, that music does go in a cyclical thing, and it must be cool if somebody does take a sample of yours and then move it up and you think, oh, yeah, I really like that rhythm. And has there ever been an instance, you know, where somebody's taken it and said, oh, do you know what, I didn't really like that bit, but they've made it sound good?
No?
No, they can't better you. You've got it. You do exactly what it says on the tin. No, that's cool. Well, listen, Graham, it's been an absolute pleasure. Can you just let people know you're coming, is it the 8th of December? Is that correct?
It's the 8th of December, and I'm just going to look at my sheet on the wall here. The 8th of December, we're at the Cardiff International Arena.
That's right.
And looking forward to seeing all our Welsh fans at that gig.
Well, that's cool because you've got quite a lineup. You're in Liverpool, Birmingham, then you come to us, Plymouth, Bournemouth, Brighton, Nottingham, London, Leeds, Glasgow, Newcastle.
Yep.
So, and do you taking a break off for Christmas? Yeah, you're finishing what, about the 19th?
Can I have we've finished, we'll be travelling back down to London or some of us will anyway, on the 20th. And then we'll take a break until February next year. There might be something in between, but normally by this time, that there's, if nothing's in by now, it won't be anything earlier than February, where we're going to New Zealand.
Okay. Well, listen, Graham, it's been a pleasure. Before I go, one question for you. What are you asking for Santa for Christmas?
What I'm asking for? Actually, I've already asked him, but don't tell anybody.
Okay, I won't. It's just between me and you.
It's about time I had a new pair of top-rated headphones.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not saying anything, but I've got a feeling that
there's some in
I
the
got the message.
You've left a couple of little subtle hints, is it?
Yeah. Well, I wrote to.
You wrote to Santa.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, let's hope he's got his mail and he's got mine as well. I've been a good boy this year, and I think you've been a good boy, so you never know.
I think I've been quite good. Thank you.
Listen, Graham, it's been a pleasure. Would you like to introduce Dreadlock Holiday to my Radio Cardiff listeners?
Okay. To all the listeners of Radio Cardiff, here's 10cc and Dreadlock Holiday.
Thanks for calling, Graham, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Radio Cardiff.